Hello everyone, Tony Costa here from Trial Apologetics. So glad that you could join us. I'd like to encourage you, as always, to like the channel and to share it and share the video, like the video, and also to subscribe to Trial Apologetics. You can do that by going to the bottom of the video, click on the subscription button or the subscribe button, and you'll be automatically connected to us. I'd like to also remind you, just behind me, my book, No King But Christ, the uh, Collapse and Bankruptcy of Secular Worldviews, is now out and it's available on Amazon. And if you would like to obtain a copy, I will put a link in the description box for you to purchase the book. So today, I wanted to look at a brief video of the Muslim revert or convert. They call themselves reverts, Sneako. And Sneako thinks it's pretty cool to be a Muslim. And he has been, he has appeared with Sheikh Uthman and others. But I wanted to share this video here where Sneako actually admitted that he read something in the Hadith about Muhammad, and it really bothered him. He was very concerned about what he was reading. And so here he asks an imam about this. And so we're going to take a listen to this, and I will stop the video when necessary. Let's take a listen in to what is going on here in this interview.
I've been struggling with this one ever since I read this hadith, which stuff a lot. I have to admit I didn't like when I read it.
So Sneako says he read this hadith and he has to admit that he didn't like it when he read it. So remember, the hadith are the sayings and deeds of Muhammad, and it is sometimes called the second inspiration by Muslims, Sunni Muslims. So he read something in the hadith that he didn't like. So let's listen in.
Listen.
Well, no, Sheikh, tell me.
First of all, we as Muslims have to have submission, certainty. No
Certainty. I think he means certainty. I don't think I've ever heard of certainty.
questions asked, no strings attached.
No questions asked. We have to have submission. In other words, you don't ask questions. There's a hadith that actually says, where Muhammad says, Allah has hated you for asking too many questions. And this is a big problem, folks. I mean, this is the mindset of the cults, is that you don't question the leaders of the cult. You don't question the authorities of the cult. And so what you have here is, in Islam, you do not question. And to question, as you heard one of the Muslims say, that this is from the shaitan, this is from Satan. And to question Islam or the Quran or the Hadith is something that is frowned upon. But just think about that. And hopefully if Sneako, if you're watching this video, you got to ask yourself, dude, you really need to ask yourself this question. Why is it that I cannot question? And why is it that if I'm reading something that I don't like or it annoys me, why are you being suppressed? Why are you being suppressed? And so you find this type of behavior in mind control groups. Groups have to control your mind, and you're not allowed to speak your mind. So let's continue listening.
This is Quran, I believe it. Do you fully embrace it? Yes.
Yes.
No questions asked. This is a hadith. Do you take it? Is it authentic? Is it?
That's what I read, yeah.
Then if it's authentic, it's from Allah.
So did you catch that? So no questioning the Quran. It's the word of Allah. And if the hadith is authentic, if it is sahih, sound, then it's from Allah. So you've heard it there, folks. So this sheikh is basically saying that the hadith, if it's authentic, then it's from Allah, even though it's been written over 200 plus years after Muhammad's death. Even the Quranis, the Quran only Muslims, will come right out and say the hadith is from the devil. The hadith is from Satan. It is not the words of Muhammad. It's not his deeds and so forth. So this idea that there's this unity in the Ummah, the unity in the Islamic community. No, not so. There are Quran only Muslims, if we can loosely call it sola scriptura Muslims, who will say the Hadith is garbage, that it is from the devil, it's from Satan, and no Muslim should be following it.
How could I be shaky? Because if you want to be shaky, this means that you don't have certainty.
Uh, certainty, not certainty. To be shaky. As a professor and as a pastor, I don't refrain or suppress my students or those in my congregation. I don't suppress them from asking questions. And if they have doubts, and I've dealt with many Christians who've struggled with doubt, we don't shoot them down. We don't look down on them. We don't threaten them. We recognize that it's okay to ask questions, and it's okay to doubt. God did not punish Jeremiah the prophet for questioning and questioning God, and God did not punish Job for cursing the day of his birth and questioning why he was alive, and so on. Our God, the God of the Bible, invites us to come and reason. Isaiah 118. Come, let us reason together, says the Lord. Though your sins are red as crimson, they shall be white as wool. And though they're red as scarlet, they shall be white as snow. So the God of the Bible invites us. He's not afraid of our questions. But you'll notice an undercurrent here is you can't question. You can't question. If the Hadith is authentic, it's from Allah, and you cannot question. And just think about that. You cannot exercise independent thinking. It's groupthink. And that is what cults do. That's how groups perform mind control, because that's what it is at the end of the day.
And when you don't have certainty, you're this close to flipping to the dark side.
Oh, so if you don't have certainty, you're very close to flipping to the dark side. I guess he's using some Star Wars there. Um, but people that question and want to dig deeper into their faith, I have found become even stronger Christians. But in Islam, the fear is that if you question enough, you're going to leave. And this is the thing. Once Muslims begin to question, just like Sneako is doing, and hopefully, God willing, he'll finally come to a senses and leave, even though he recognizes the penalty for apostasy in Islam, from all the four schools of Islam of jurisprudence, the penalty is death. But hopefully Sneako will come to his senses and leave, because you cannot be part of a system that suppresses free thought or free speech or just the ability to freely think. That's one of the gifts that God has given us as his image bearers, that we can think and we can talk and we can question. But what you see here basically is, well, if you get doubts, then you're going to get shaky and then you're going to join the dark side. In other words, what the Sheikh is basically saying is, if you criticize Islam, chances are you're going to leave Islam. And the question is why? Why can it not be questioned? If it's true, if Islam is true, then it has nothing to fear. Christianity has been scrutinized for the past 400 years, and it's still standing. If you have the truth, there's nothing to fear. But to threaten people with death and to threaten them with excommunication because they ask questions, that's a different story.
Side.
But I mean, how are we able to judge how authentic Hadith is, or
You don't. How do you judge?
You don't. Know your place, Nico. You don't. You don't decide that. That's the scholars. That's the ijma, the scholarly consensus. They decide that.
Whether this neurosurgeon who's going to do a spine cord surgery on you is authentic or not.
judged by opinions of other people?
Okay, so but
By opinions of other people, you look at their credentials. Are they qualified? That's how you know if they're qualified.
whose people?
The professionals.
Professionals. So you go to the scholars.
That's
of
why I'm
Islam.
asking you.
I like that. I like that. That's Sneako threw a curveball there. I like that. That's why I'm asking you. And you're giving me the runaround. You're giving me don't ask questions. If you get too shaky, you're going to flip and join the dark side. So he's basically saying, the Sheikh is basically saying out loud what we all know. And that is, when Muslims begin to honestly ask questions and critique and analyze, they begin to see things that they're not going to like. And that's why a lot of Muslims today are leaving Islam. A lot of it partly due to the internet, but immediate access to information. And that information is what exposes the lies that a lot of the sheikhs and imams keep perpetuating from their people.
I'm coming to you. I'm not answering yet. I'm just setting the foundation for the belief. The biggest problem we have with the Westerners from America and from Canada and from Europe is that they don't have their Islam on cemented area. They're so easy to flip to the.
You catch that? So Muslims in Canada, the United States, and in the West, they don't have that cement. What that means is they don't have that attitude where you don't ask. They don't have that attitude where you don't ask questions. And that's because in the West, with academia and access to information, and those who go into higher learning, I know from a friend of mine who's a doctoral student that who's doing his doctorate in Islamics. He openly admitted to me that at the post-secondary institution that he attends, about half of the Muslims will drop the courses because they're dealing with textual criticism of the Quran. They're dealing with the historical critical method with the history of Islam. And a lot of Muslims students that take these courses don't like what they're hearing because it's not what they were brought up to think. And when you face the academic materials and the academic challenges that's out there, that scholars who've been studying these for decades now, and even some more than a century, they begin to see a side of Islam that they're forbidden from seeing. And again, what's the purpose of concealing all this? Put all the cards on the table. There's no need to conceal this information. Again, Christianity has all their cards on the table. The Bible, take it, and Muslims are welcome, and they have been for many, many years, trying to use the Bible to disprove Christianity or prove Islam. They will use a methodology that they will not allow to be used on their Quran or their Hadith. So here you see the huge inconsistency.
The other side, and that's why you find many of them starting to be good and strong and mashallah, and all of a sudden, I have doubts. Why?
There you go. So there it is, folks. Why? What's wrong with doubts? Did Jesus punish Thomas because Thomas the apostle, Thomas was a doubter? Or did Jesus love him and bear him and bear with him? And Jesus not only had him as a disciple, but showed himself to him after the resurrection. You see, in Islam, you're not allowed to doubt. You're not allowed to question. You know, you hear the motto, without lies, Islam dies. There's some truth to that, isn't there? Because you keep perpetuating the same narrative over and over and over again. But then you got someone like Sneako who's actually thinking critically and thinking, wait a minute, there's something here I don't like. Is this proper of a prophet to do something like this?
Why? The Prophet married Aisha when she was 9. Ooh.
Oh, yeah. So you see, folks, yeah, the Prophet married Aisha when she was, well, he married her when she was 6, according to the Hadith, but he consummated the marriage when she was 9, and he was 54, and he's making it sound like, well, what's the big deal here? But the big deal is that he has set a precedent as the one who is the exemplar that Muslims are to follow, that he is the pattern of conduct that Muslims are to follow. Because of that, men can marry little girls in the Islamic world. And in Iraq, they've lowered the marriageable age to 9. I wonder why. Why that age? Because that's when Muhammad consummated his marriage with Aisha when he was 54 and she was 9 years old. So it's not just, it's he has set a precedent that has led to the sexual abuse and to the death of little girls who are not prepared to be wives and to engage in sexual relations. And so he doesn't care. The Prophet did it. It's fine. There's no problem with that. But when you think of it critically and you look at it critically, you begin to realize, no, 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 this is not right. This is not right.
You're a kafir.
There you go. You've heard it. If you start questioning and oh, the prophet married a young girl and consummated the marriage at 9. If you question that, you just heard it. You're a kafir. That's one of the dirtiest words in Islam. You are a kafir. You're an unbeliever. Right? And the other Muslim just, he's just going along with it. He's just digesting everything he's saying. This is what happens when your brain just goes to mush. You just accept everything they say, never question, just accept it as the gospel truth, no pun intended. And so you've just heard it from the Sheikh. You're a kafir if you question Muhammad and question his marital status to a little girl. And so is he implicitly accusing Sneako of being a kafir? And they're all laughing about it. They're all laughing about it. Right?
If you doubt the Prophet ﷺ for a second, you're a full-fledged kafir. Get
You catch that? If you doubt the Prophet for a second, you're a full-fledged kafir. You can't question him. You can't critique him. You can't analyze him. It is forbidden. You're a kafir. If you're a kafir, you're liable to the death penalty as an apostate. So, folks, it's not people like me and others saying this. It's the leading scholars in Islam, the sheikhs, who are saying this.
the heck out of my house.
Then he says, "Get the heck out of my house." So, I don't know. Is that what he's telling Sneako here? Well, almost sounds like it. I don't know if that's what Sneako was reading in the Hadith. Was it about Aisha? I don't know. But notice the Sheikh's response is, "Get the heck out of my house." If you dare question a 50-year-old man taking a little girl and having sexual relations with her at the age of 9, and thereby setting a precedent for all time. So this man will defend that behavior because he believes that man was a prophet of God. Do you know any prophets in the Bible who did things like that? I don't know any.
Don't even think about it. No second chances.
No second chances. There you go. You're not allowed to doubt. You're not allowed to question. And so if Sneako is already doubting, if he's already questioning, there's a crack in the foundation. And that's a good thing. There's a crack in the foundation. And hopefully this will be his exit out.
Islam is crystal clear. The Prophet said, I've left you on Islam, which is as clear as night and day. There's nothing ambiguous in it. So if
there's nothing ambiguous in it. That's why you need the Hadith to explain the Quran, because the Quran is so ambiguous, so unclear that you need the Hadith and the Tafsir to explain things.
Someone has the hesitation and is not certain. You know how many counseling sessions I do over the year? Thousands. I counsel people for money. They come to me, they pay me $220 per hour. I'm cheap. So what's the problem? And they come to me and say, "Sheikh, I'm not certain that Allah exists." And you're a kafir.
There you go. So someone says, "I'm not sure if God exists." So what's the answer? You're a kafir.
End of call.
Ends the call. There you go. Hangs up on you. Instead of saying, "Why are you having these doubts? Can you tell me why?" And it's okay to doubt. It's not a sin to doubt. It's not a sin to doubt. Jesus did not condemn Thomas for doubting. It's a sin to turn your back on the gospel. It's a sin to turn your back on Christ. But Thomas doubted. He didn't turn his back on Christ. He doubted. And so what you're basically saying is, someone says, "I don't know if Allah exists. I don't know if God exists." Okay, you're a kafir. Click, bye. You can't critically think in Islam. You can't, because it's forbidden. And you're not allowed to think critically because someone is controlling the narrative.
Watch out. If you doubt something in Islam that is beyond doubt, the Prophet ﷺ, if you look down at him, if you think bad about him,
You look down on him. If you think bad about him, you notice how important he is, the elevation there. Not God. It's not Allah, how important Allah is, and it's him. Everything is about him. But yet they accuse Christians. They accuse Christians of associating partners with Allah when Christians believe that Jesus Christ is God incarnate. He's the eternal God. He one with the Father and the Holy Spirit. And notice how they keep elevating Muhammad. You can't criticize him.
If you think something wrong with the Quran, if you think Allah Azza wa Jal is unfair, you're a kafir.
There you go. I don't have to belabor the point, folks. It's very clear. This man will not engage people on an academic or on a logical level. If you don't go with my narrative, if you don't follow what I think, get out of my face. That's exactly his argument. And so Muslims who are watching this, if you come to Christ, he won't do that to you. He won't treat you that way. I won't treat you that way. I'll listen to you. I'll talk to you. But this is not what you're seeing here.
We don't have to beat around the bush. But if you have a doubt, why did this happen? I'll explain it to you. This is why I'm here. You say, I don't know why the Prophet married Aisha when she was 9 and he was 50 years of age. It doesn't sound good, but I accept it. Do you think bad of the Prophet Islam? Is he a pedophile? Stop.
There you go. There you go. So now he's changing his tune. He'll say, well, he'll listen to you, but are you saying he's a pedophile? Don't you dare. Even though we all are thinking the same thing in our heads. Even though we're all thinking that a 54-year-old man sleeping with a 9-year-old girl constitutes not just statutory rape, it is pedophilia.
Astaghfirullah. I would be a kafir thinking this.
I'd be a kafir to think that Muhammad was a pedophile. Even though he did what pedophiles do by sleeping with little kids, little girls, or little boys, I can't call him what we call it. So this is the stage, folks. This is where we are with this type of mindset. And as you can see, Sneako does not seem overly impressed.
But I just want justification. I explain it to you. And I'll remove all doubt in your head.
There you go. And so, folks, that's the state of Islam. And that's what we've always noticed is that the double standards where, well, I can question the Bible, I can question the historical Jesus, and I can question this, I can question that. Well, you can't question the Quran, you can't question the Hadith. That is not dialogue, folks. That's propaganda. And so as information begins to increase and many Muslims can have access to immediate information, particularly online, there's a reason why there's an avalanche of apostasy in Islam. Many young men are beginning to leave Islam and they're researching, they're looking at the evidence. And so if you're a Muslim and you're watching this, I bear no ill towards you. All I'm asking for you is look at the evidence, follow the truth wherever it leads you, and don't be afraid to question. Human beings are the only creatures that ask the question, why? Animals don't ask that question. Animals are more concerned about survival and preservation and sexual reproduction of their species. But humans are the only creatures who say, why? And that's because God made us in his image. We are inquisitive creatures. We are self-reflecting. And that is a beautiful gift that we have from God. Thanks again, everyone, for watching. Hope again that you will like the video and share it, and that you will subscribe to the channel. Once again, don't forget my book, No King But Christ, just right here behind me. I'll put a link in the description box for that. Thanks, everyone, for watching, and look forward to having you in another video. Take care. God bless.